So today, you guys, we're going to be talking about Niklaus and the other members of the Michelson family as we talk about the originals. You guys, this was absolutely my favorite episode so far. And if this episode is any indication of what's coming this season for the originals, I'm pretty darn excited. One of my absolute favorite parts of this episode was learning about Klaus and Marcel's background. It was just amazing and rich, and I hope we get to see more flashbacks of the two of them. I really think learning about their history makes their relationship even more complex than it was before. And we get that it's a lot more than just the fact that Klaus sired Marcel. He really kind of raised Marcel as his own son, which we know for Klaus is a big step because that includes feelings, and those are something that Klaus usually doesn't like to deal with. We also get that Klaus is not the only Michelson who has a past with Marcel. Rebecca shows up in town, and after a few flashbacks, we get that there was some chemistry between Marcel and Rebecca at one point. And so the two of them really have history with a capital H. And let's pause for a brief moment to talk about Rebecca and Klaus, because I feel like in this episode there was this kind of theme in their relationship that was really solidified. I mean, like, in the past, we've seen the way that Klaus reacts when Rebecca falls in love with someone. He does not deal well with that. And in this episode, we learn that basically, whenever she fell in love with someone, Klaus killed them. And no one was ever good enough, of course, for his sister. Which really, you guys, just kind of creeped me out a little bit. And I feel like it just added this kind of creepy element to their relationship. Am I the only one that felt like that? And part of me thinks that's just because he wants her all to himself. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, but it's like Klaus thinks that if Rebecca finds somebody, if she falls in love, that she's gonna leave him, and he doesn't want to let that happen. I just thought that was really deep, and it totally makes me understand the two of them even more. I am a little intrigued by the thought of Marcel and Rebecca, because we get that he was the only person that Klaus ever thought was good enough. But in the end, he still managed to tear the two of them apart. So it'll be interesting, I guess, to see what happens. Now, something else happened for me in this episode, and that is that I actually enjoyed Haley. You guys, she has driven me crazy since we met her on the Vampire Diaries. And so when I heard that she was going to be in the show, I was just kind of like, ugh, no. But she was kind of really not annoying in this episode, and I was really kind of intrigued by her. So I'm really hoping that that continues. She tries to kill herself at one point, and there's a whole bunch of drama involving that. I love this scene, though, towards the end when her and Klaus kind of come to this understanding. And Klaus begins to realize that he and Haley really do have a lot in common. Now, of course, the whole reason that Rebecca shows up in New Orleans is because she's trying to figure out what's happened to Elijah. He's not answering her phone calls, and so she's worried. We know that Niklaus daggered him in the last episode, but what we don't know is what he did with his body. In the end, it turns out that he gave him to Marcel as kind of a peace offering, and this is the part of the episode where we learn that the originals do have something to fear, because when Rebecca finally gets Marcel to take her to Elijah's body, it turns out that he's in the same room where this witch Davina is at. And she pretty much tosses Rebecca around like a rag doll, and when Rebecca actually does get back to Klaus, she tells him, like, I've never felt power like that before. Davina is really kind of an interesting aspect to the show, right? Because now the originals have something to be afraid of, when normally they wouldn't. So I love that. I love that there's that element to the show that Marcel is kind of holding this over them, and he's got Elijah. So I am hoping that we figure that out soon, because I need to have Elijah undaggered as soon as possible, people. Now, the last reveal that we get at the end is not only does Marcel have Davina to help him control the witches and to kind of control the originals, but he's encouraging her to try to figure out how to kill the originals. So whatever plan Klaus is working with, he's gonna need to work it quickly. Before I forget, let's talk about the bartender Cammy, you guys. So I thought they were gonna try to pass her off as kind of like a love interest for Klaus, but it turns out that Marcel is kind of crushing on her. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with Cammy or kind of what her role in this show is going to be, but I'm definitely kind of intrigued by that. Yeah, hands down, you guys, this was the best episode of this show so far. Please let it continue in this vein. All right, you guys, as always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys again really soon. Bye.